About 4 years ago, I made a review of my Carmina Balmoral boots, and since then I've worn them quite a lot. So in today's video, I thought it would be the perfect time to take a step back and see how they've held up over the past few years. Are they still worth their investment, and do they live up to their rather steep price tag? Let's find out in today's video. Hi, if we haven't met yet, I'm Elina. I'm a trained dressmaker with a passion for timeless, elegant fashion. Here on this channel, I talk about all things quality, craftsmanship, and how to create a wardrobe that truly stands the test of time. Now, don't get me wrong, first impressions are helpful when deciding whether or not to buy something, but what I oftentimes find missing in these reviews is the long-term perspective. How does something really age after years of wear? Because to me, good quality means so much more than just looking good out of the box. It's about standing the test of time. So today we're going back to these Carmina boots, and I'll let you know if I would still recommend them or not. Before heading into the review, I wanted to give some basic information about the brand and the shoes. If you're not interested in that, you can skip ahead. I did put a timestamp somewhere, so you can just click there and it will take you to the review part. Now let's start with Carmina Shoemaker as a brand. They are a Spanish brand and they produce their shoes on Mallorca. They have been founded in 1866, so they have been on the market for quite some time, and it is a family business that has been going for 6 generations. They make high quality men's and women's leather shoes, from boots to dress shoes over loafers to, I think they recently added sandals to their women's line. So they have a huge variety in leathers, colors and models. They also offer a customized program, so if you can't find a shoe that really suits your needs, you can customize one for yourself if you just have something specific in mind. It's a bit more expensive than just buying the shoes they offer, but it's not a major jump. So if you have something specific in mind, this could be a great option for you. Now, let's talk about the boots. So the Balmoral boots cost €525, which is quite a lot more than when I bought mine. I bought mine for €416. I can't quite remember if I got a discount for them because the number is just so odd, but I don't think so. Carmina doesn't really do a lot of discounts, so don't know where that number came from, but it is quite a steep price increase actually for just 4 years, 26% to be exact. I did calculate that by myself. I mean, everything got more expensive, but I was a little shocked when I saw that. The Balmoral boots come in 5 different colors. One of them is the brown pair I bought back in the day. They also have an all black version, which doesn't have suede leather. It's just smooth leather. They also have a red one, a lighter brown shade, and they have a fully suede light brown one. The red and the smooth leather light brown version cost a little more. Well, actually, it's not just a little, they cost $915, and that's due to the leather that they used for these shoes. My brown boots are made from Vigano leather, which is the smooth brown leather at the bottom of the shoe, and they also have the suede leather up top. Vigano leather is a high quality vegetable tanned cowhide. It's quite firm at first and it develops a rich patina over time. It is really durable, but it's less water resistant than other leather types, but to be honest, I haven't had any problems with water damage on my shoes, and I've worn them in the rain, in the snow, so they have been through a lot, but the leather hasn't warped in any places, so I would say they do quite well. The boots are made with Carmina's Madison last. The last is basically a 3D model or form that's used to shape the shoe during construction. It determines the shoe's fit, shape and silhouette, including length, width, toe shape and instep height. The Madison Last is Carmina's bestseller and the first last they developed for their women's line. It looks feminine and elegant, but the toe and instep area are actually quite spacious, and the front has this almond shape, I would say, which makes it look very chic. The sole is made from rubber, which is very practical for rainy days because the shoe is just protected from down below. Also, the shoe has been made with a Goodyear welted construction. For most shoes nowadays, the sole is glued to the upper part of the shoe, and a Goodyear welt construction is very different because they use a leather strip, which is called the welt, and they stitch it to the upper and insole, and then the outsole is also stitched to the welt and not directly to the upper material. This creates a very strong and durable bond, and it also means that you can exchange the sole without destroying the upper shoe. Alrighty, so these were some basic information about the brand and the boots, so let's now move on to my review. I bought these shoes more than 4 years ago and I've worn them so much. And I might be biased, but I think they still look amazing for how often I've worn them. These were in use throughout every autumn, winter and spring season since I bought them. and they have been my main pair of shoes, so I've almost worn them daily. I do want to mention that these shoes are very well cared for. Usually these are very thoroughly cleaned and shined every 3 months, most of the time by my boyfriend, which is very, very kind. Of course, if there's a very rainy and muddy day, these are being cleaned in between. But yeah, it's not a huge job to take care of these. Both the suede and the smooth Vegano leather are in a really good condition. There is a little bit of creasing in the front here where your toes bend, but show me a shoe that doesn't do that. I mean, it is actually quite minimal, to be honest. It could be so much worse. I do have to mention that I put shoe trees in my shoe every time I wear them. I think there have been a couple of occasions where I was too lazy, but almost every time I wear these shoes, I put my shoe trees in after getting home. The shoe trees I'm using are made from cedar wood, and I would very highly advise you to get wooden shoe trees. I really like cedar wood because it smells quite nice, but it's up to you. Just don't get the plastic ones, because if you get wooden ones, they actually absorb the moisture that's still left in the shoe after wearing them, and also it keeps them smelling very nice. I've never in my life owned a shoe that smells this good after 4 years of wear. It basically just smells like leather and cedar wood. So if you have leather shoes, get yourself some wooden shoe trees. The suede does have a few marks, but it is quite a delicate material compared to the smooth leather. Where the laces sit, you do have marks, and also on the inside where my ankle sits, I do have these lighter patches. That is probably because I'm clumsy and sometimes my ankles just hit together, which, well, the material didn't really like. But other than that, it is actually in really perfect condition. What you can do when your suede leather looks a little worse for wear is you can get a specific brush. And what that brush does is it helps clean the leather, and also it helps rising up the fibers so it looks nice and new. I don't own one of these brushes, but I have been toying with the idea of buying one. So far, I think it didn't need it, but yeah, I think maybe I'll invest in one of these. The leather on the inside of the shoes is quite an orangey shade, and there is quite a lot of color transfer, which I don't actually mind that much, to be honest, because you don't see it when you wear the shoe. It's just where the tongue sits, and it's not visible, so I'm not really bothered about that. The laces in these boots are not the original ones. I have replaced them twice, I believe, and that is where I do have a little bit of critique. The holes for the laces are very tiny, so I have yet to find a pair of laces that actually fits through them. Right now, I'm just using a leather band because none of the laces I tried got through these holes. You could probably make them bigger if you wanted to, but I haven't done that yet. I don't know, I've been scared. But you could probably just make them a little bigger. But yeah, that's just a bit stupid, isn't it? That you can't really fit any normal laces through these. Maybe I have been stupid and I haven't looked in the right places, but yeah, that is a little tiny minus point for me. Now, let's talk about the sole of these shoes. As I mentioned, they are made from rubber. This is the sole. And I do have to say I was a bit scared when I first bought them, because I think we all know these shoes where there's this rubber sole that kind of gets worn down within, I don't know, 6 months, maybe a year, and it just looks really rubbish after quite a short period of time. So I was a bit nervous if this rubber sole would actually stand the test of time, but I'm very happy to report that it's actually really good. It does have some wear, but I mean, that's normal. I've worn these constantly for 4 years straight. The heel is the part where the rubber has rubbed off the most, so I might need to get these resoled this year. I mean, there's still a bit left, so maybe next year. But yeah, that's the area where you can definitely see the wear. There's also a little bit of wear in the front and in the middle of the shoe, but it's not too bad. I can definitely wear these for a few more seasons before I need to get the whole shoe resoled. But as I said, I'm very positively surprised that the sole has lasted so long. And for boots, I would always go for a rubber sole. A leather sole is just very impractical, especially when it rains. So for my boots, I will definitely always go for the rubber sole. Comfort-wise, these shoes are a 9 out of 10 for me. They got more and more comfortable the more I wore them. I bought them in a size 38, which is a size 5 UK, I believe. I'm gonna be honest, they did take some time to break in, but I think that's quite normal for leather shoes. There were a lot of blisters involved in the beginning, but after the first few painful weeks, they just got more and more comfortable with every time I wore them. Now I can wear them all day long. I can wear them for 8 hours straight, and they are still comfortable, which is a small miracle because I do have quite wide feet. And so finding a shoe that fits me and that's comfortable for all day long is quite a struggle. So I'm super glad that I found them, that I picked them up, and that I still have them in my life. Okay, so this was the review part. Let's just go over some final thoughts of mine and then we'll be done with this video. Carmina's Balmoral boots are such an incredible pair of boots, which are definitely worth their price tag. I mean, I'm sad that they went up in price this much because I do want to get more of them, but they are still worth their money, definitely. For the amount I've worn them, they are still in such good condition. The quality is impeccable and I couldn't imagine my life without them. Carmina Shoemaker as a whole is just such an amazing brand and I would buy so many of their shoes in a heartbeat. I'm so happy that I found this brand and it is definitely my go-to for good quality leather shoes. Alright guys, so this was my video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you found it valuable or helpful in any kind of way. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider subscribing. I would be so grateful. If you want to watch some more of my content, I have a video linked up here for you to check out if you like. And I will just say bye-bye.